Terra Luna Classic could hit $1 as soon as next week, but is that something we really want? There's currently an idea circulating in the Terra Luna Classic community that tries to implement a reverse split. For anyone who's unaware, a split or reverse split is generally done in the stock market. That way they could artificially increase or decrease the price. Let's use an example to try and make this more clear. Let's say you have an asset that is worth $1 million, and now you have 1 million shares or 1 million tokens that represent the total value of that asset. In that situation, each one is worth $1. If you do a 10-to-1 reverse split, you're going to decrease that total supply. And so now you're going to have 100,000 tokens or 100,000 shares, and the asset is still going to be worth $1 million. And so now each single token or share in this situation would be worth $10. And so this might sound great because now your $1 asset is worth $10. However, it's not quite how it works. Instead, this is more like you have 10 $1 bills. You give them to me and I give you one $10 bill back. In both scenarios, you still have $10 worth of total assets. In one, you have $10 worth of $1 bills, and in another one, you have one bill that's worth $10. You're just exchanging how the value of that asset is being held, but the value is still the same. It's still $10 either way. And so if the value of people's underlying assets doesn't actually change from a fundamental level, what's the point of this? Well, this is generally done to spark interest and hype around either the stock asset or in this case, a token or cryptocurrency asset. I interrupt your regularly scheduled broadcast to bring you guys this breaking news. According to YouTube, roughly 80% of you don't have your notification bells turned on. You don't want to miss another awesome video like this. And while you're busy turning on your notification bells, why don't you guys also subscribe? According to YouTube, over 91% of you are not subscribed. Now that you did that, let's get back to the video. I know that we're talking about a reverse split in this example, but we can look at the Tesla stock split that happened a little while ago as an example of how this mechanic actually works in the real world. Now, a little while ago, Tesla approved a 3-for-1 stock split, and what ended up happening here, the Tesla shares were up about 1.5% Wednesday morning before this happened in anticipation, even though the stock split won't change anything fundamental about the company's stock. That's what I was explaining here, where it's the example of the $10. Now, the Tesla stock example, this brought value because theoretically the stock split meant that retail investors could actually afford the Tesla stock. When you have, let's say, like $1,000 stock price, a lot of people look at that and go, I can't afford $1,000 stock, or maybe that'd be in my entire portfolio. I want to have diversification, so I'm not just going to buy one share of Tesla and spend all my money on that. People tend to view Bitcoin in a similar light. They see the Bitcoin price and they go, I can't afford a $16,000 Bitcoin. That's way too much money. And they forget the fact that with cryptocurrencies, let's say you have one whole Bitcoin or you have 0.1 Bitcoin, you're going to get the same percentage returns on your money regardless. It's just instead of spending $16,000, you would spend $1,600, or you could break it down even further, go to $160, and you could make it a lot smaller of an increment depending on how much you can afford. You don't have to buy an entire Bitcoin. Terra Luna Classic kind of has the opposite issue. People look at this price that we're at right now, and they either think, wow, this could go and make me so much money if we just hit $1, or they look at this and go, this thing is worth nothing. This thing's worthless. I don't even want to touch it. I don't want to bother with the asset, even though it doesn't matter. You can't do a comparison of Terra Luna Classic to something like Bitcoin and just assume because the prices are so much different, one asset is better than the other, because of course you need to actually look at how much is that total asset worth based on those market cap numbers that you can see right here, with Bitcoin having over 300 billion and Terra Luna Classic just shy of 1 billion. And so while an artificial reverse split could in theory get us to a $1 Terra Luna Classic price as soon as next week, I don't think it's worth us doing that, because essentially the value of your total holdings doesn't change regardless of how that plays out, unless you see a massive hype where, say, price inflates by 50% just purely off of hype above and beyond the reverse split price change. I believe it's better for us to focus on the natural ways to actually increase the price. That way we can actually realize a 2x, a 10x, or even a 100x on the value of our underlying assets. If you want to learn more about the potential of Terra Luna Classic, check out this video up here, and I will catch you all in the next one.